saying Gene Hackman and Jimmy Chitwood would enjoy this one too, brother. Here we go.
I'm saying it feels just like a movie. Keith Reynolds back deep for Washington, and he's going to bring it out and try to spark the Huskies from the jump, and he gets popped down at the 18-yard line. And so here comes Washington's offense for the first time. They've outgained every team they've played, all 7 games, and Will Rogers, for as inexperienced as Taven Jackson is, this is the other end of the spectrum. He leads all active quarterbacks in attempts and completions in college football.
Yeah, and over 14,000 yards. Pretty impressive. He's seen a lot of environments, almost 20 ranked opponents he's gone against. The big part of this game today for him, he's got to understand where this very aggressive defense is positioning post-snap.
He's going to throw on first down. Pressure right in his face, and Sean Asbury with a sack.
Well, IU was going to be aggressive from the jump. They've been that way all season long. Sean Asbury, coming off a career day with a huge pick a week ago, sets the tone early.
Now it's 2nd and 18. And movement up front. And the noise playing a factor.
Full start, offense, number 75. 5-yard penalty, 2nd out.
Our referee, Cole Kneppel. And now the ball is back at the 5-yard line.
And it's going to get even louder. I'd expect even more pressure from this defense. Here it comes off the edge.
Quick throw, and it's caught complete, and a big chunk to get some yardage back and create some breathing room. Jeremiah Hunter, the transfer from Cal.
Hunter hasn't had the numbers I think a lot of people anticipated this season, but they want to get him going. They had a bye week, as you referenced earlier, guy. But on 3rd down, they look for number 12. Denzel Boston. Indiana knows that. I'd expect them to roll coverage towards him at the bottom of the screen.
3rd down and 8. Rogers under pressure again. He got rid of it. Incomplete. But Washington will have to punt. Mikhail Kamara all over the Husky quarterback.
Kamara.
Intentional grounding, offense, number 7. Lost it down at the spot of the foul, 4th down.
Tell you what, Kamara has been doing that to quarterbacks all season long in this league. He's got 27 pressures, which leads the Big Ten. And I'll tell you what, for Indiana, it's as good of a start as you could ask for, and for Washington, as challenging of one early on in this game on this stage.
And special teams have been a bit of a roller coaster. They're giving up a lot of yardage in the punt return game as Jack McAllister punts from the end zone and gets it away clean to Miles Price. Looking up into the sun. Everybody watching. And finally, Miles Price gets tackled going backwards. And let's look back. You talked about the Indiana defense to start, and they had a great first series.
Well, it came from the very first snap, and Sean Asbury finding his way into the backfield. And this defense knew that they were going to face probably the best offense they've seen all season long. And now when you flip it to the offense of Indiana, here comes that man, Taven Jackson.
3rd-year sophomore, his 3rd career start, 1st of the year. Mop-up duty in non-conference games. He played the 2nd half last week. He was very good. Remember, this was a ruthless 49-point win over Nebraska here a week ago. He's going to hand it off on 1st down to Justice Ellison with a good run on 1st down. This is what he did in the 2nd half against the Cornhuskers. When the locker room found out that Curtis Rourke was out, the word we heard was everybody rallied around Taven Jackson before the 2nd half.
Well, look, he's been a mainstay even with this new staff. Did a nice job in spring ball, lost the job in camp, but he's been in the hip pocket of Curtis Rourke this entire journey this season.
He's lined up in the pistol to throw quickly and incomplete. bouncing off of Miles Price.
Talked about the scouting report on Taven Jackson. Arm talent is never an issue. This guy can absolutely spin it. Today, the big chess match is going to be, how does IU want to use him and Mike Shanahan, the offensive coordinator, and what is Washington going to do? I mean, in the first quarter of this game, it's going to be fascinating to watch that element scheme-wise from Steve Belichick, the son of Bill, the defensive coordinator for Washington, against Mike Shanahan, the OC at Indiana.
Indiana's been such a fast-starting team. A third down opportunity for this Washington defense. Everybody standing up on the defensive line, and now a flag comes in.
That's going to be false start, I think.
False start. Offense, number 75. 5-yard penalty. Third down.
Right tackle Trey Wettig.
You know, a big challenge for Chris Cignetti in this offense against this defensive front guy is they'll be in a variety of different personnels. Keep an eye on Alfonso Tupatala. He's the leader on that defense, number 11. He'll line up all over the field. So the center, Mike Kadick and company, they got to identify where the offensive line is blocking, who's the linebacker they're blocking to, and it's hard when all those bodies are standing up at the line of scrimmage.
They bring 4, and a delayed handoff to Ellison. And he gets tackled. Bruner there in front of him, and Tupatala on his back. And now it's 4th down and time to punt.
He has a really nice job from Alfonso Tupatala. Even he and Carson Bruner. You see him right there, number 11. Watch him, eyes all the way, looking at the quarterback. He retraces. He's just so athletic. It's such a big challenge for offensive linemen. Right in the middle there. Watch that. That's a good group right there for UW. That linebacker tandem, they're really in sync.
That has to feel like a big win for Washington, Yogi, considering that Indiana just owns the first quarter this season. James Evans sends it high into the air to Denzel Boston on a breezy, beautiful Saturday early afternoon at the center of it all, Bloomington, Indiana. Let's take a look at tonight's keys to the game, sponsored by Modelo.
Well, for UW, they got to feed Jonah Coleman. We've talked about it a few times now. That will not stop, especially in a traditional down here, the ball at the 30. And then for IU, when Washington runs the football, they love the play-action game. They love mirroring run and pass. So they got to make sure that explosive plays are not a premium for Washington. It's a huge part of their offense. So the eye discipline of the back end is going to be big time for this secondary as they try to stop the run.
Under the shadow of the big American flag, better field position for Washington. Second possession here, the 30. Jonah Coleman with a tough run. I mean, look at this.
I mean, this scene is phenomenal, man. I mean, from the flag to the crowd to what this season has been in the build-up. Look at that shadow.
Whew. It's a 60-yard shadow. All right, now Will Rogers under center. And back to Coleman. And he's stuffed. C.J. West right in the middle. And let's take a look at our impact players, brought to you by Auto Owners Insurance.
Well, for Washington, it's their 2 best players, right? Jonah Coleman we referenced. Now here comes a money down. Denzel Boston is the top target in this offense. And in the back end, we have seen Terry Jones Jr.'s impact since going to that rover position. He's in the slot right now. How do they play Denzel Boston at the bottom of the screen?
Rogers steps in and completes Giles Jackson, but he is tackled shy of the line to gain. Sean Asbury with a strong tackle, and it's going to be 4th and inches.
I'll tell you what, the tackling of Indiana continues to stand out as UW is going to go for it here, and I don't blame them.
Are they really?
You got nothing to lose, man. See if they get a yard with his back.
Jonah Coleman gets it. He spun off a tackle and picked up the first down.
Let's not forget the psychological element of this game. And for Jedd Fisch, it's 4th and a few inches. He's saying, all right, let's give it to our impact player. Jonah Coleman could get that against anybody. We saw it against Michigan earlier this season. When he's healthy, he's one of the better backs in America. They just had a bye week. He's at truly full strength. We talked to him in pregame. Jedd Fisch said he we're going to get on the rock, and he knew it. He had a big smile on his face when we talked to him.
You see why he's 3rd in the Big Ten in yards after contact entering play today. So now Rodgers wants to set up a screen, and he's got it. Cam Davis into Indiana territory, and another first down.
And we talked about this offense, right? Play action. Explosive plays don't just happen. Watch the quarterback. This play action to Cam Davis. Turns his head around. Eyes downfield initially. Then boom, you got your offensive lineman. Get it to your back. And that's an explosive play in the play action game. Might not be a shot down the field, but you're checking it down to your back out of the backfield.
Right back to him. And Jonah Coleman gets a couple.
Under center, you don't see that very often in college football. You will see that with Washington today. They'll also play two quarterbacks. They'll play Damon Williams as well as Will Rogers, but we're going to see some under center game. We're going to see some pistol game with the running back aligned directly behind the quarterback. They think that can slow down this defensive front that's extremely aggressive for Indiana.
Indiana's defense hasn't allowed a first quarter point yet this year. Rodgers on the move, and he throws to the second level to Denzel Boston. Did that go through Kaleki Latu?
I think Latu thought it was going to him, but from up here it was going to Boston the whole time. Again, play action. It forces the linebackers to go to their right, and there's a hole to their left. Jedd Fisch, as good as anybody, I think, at scheming up plays in your right. Through Latu to Boston. That's the tip drill. Shows the hands of one of the more dynamic receivers in the Big Ten.
He's been the go-to guy. 9 receiving touchdowns this year. Boston, that leads the league. Pressure off the edge, and it's intercepted. D'Angelo Ponds roll out the big red carpet. Touchdown, Indiana. Ponds has to be thinking sometimes in life it's all perfect. It couldn't have been more perfect. Nicholas Radicic on for the point after. Thank goodness this place doesn't have a roof.
It blew it right off, and this was amazing. I think UW's trying to throw a double pass. Ponds says, whatever you're trying to do, I can do better. Catches it off the tip all the way to the house, and this place has gone absolutely off, and he's doing a little ditty. The penetration from this defensive line. It looked like that was Tyreek Tucker who hit the arm of Will Rogers. Forced an errant pass. Ponds all over it.
And now a short kick. Fair caught. 25-yard line for Washington's offense again.
All right, so let's take a look at this. To me, as they throw it over here, as the play unfolds, to me, they're trying to throw backside. It's going to be a trick play. It's going to be a double pass. That's what it looked like the setup was. Fringe red zone area, great play call. Didn't stop the penetration from the defensive tackle. Tucker gets his arm on Rogers' arm, and the rest is history as D'Angelo Ponds. Whoa.
That's what it sounded like. So another opportunity for Washington's offense. And this time they'll hand it off to Jonah Coleman again. You know, the one thing with Indiana, they spent the entire season in the lead. So running the football, teams have been dared to kind of stick to it. It's hard to. So the question is, can Washington stick to it today?
Yeah, they're going to have to. I mean, that's what happened in their Iowa game 2 weeks ago. You go back and you watch the game, and they did a lot of good things. They just couldn't finish. But to your point, of Indiana. They're just dominating teams early in games, and they're forcing you to get out of your game plan much earlier than you'd like.
87-0. That's the first quarter score. Jalen Walker, the linebacker, the transfer from James Madison, with the tackle. This place is going to change. That's what he told us when we sat down with him yesterday.
What a journey for him alongside Aiden Fisher. The two linebackers come over from JMU. He said, our communication is phenomenal. We're going to have to communicate here. And I think that Brian Haynes, the defensive coordinator, he can feel the vibe of this place. He's trying to put an exclamation mark early on in this ball game with his defense.
Cam Davis, the pass-catching running back, is in the game. Rogers looking his way. Throws it to him, but he's tackled short by Pons, and it's 4th down and 3.
This is an awesome job by this defense. They're going to roll their coverage all the way to the field, to the wide side, and try to force Will Rogers to throw at D'Angelo Pons all day. He's the best corner for this Indiana defense. Rogers wanted to go left guy. Nothing was doing there. Too many defenders in his way. He has to come back right, and it's cleaned up by this elite sophomore D'Angelo Pons.
So Jack McAllister, who had a 62-yard punt, a career long, with his first punt, is going to send it away to Miles Price again. Plenty of air underneath it. Price has a little seam, and then he gets clipped near the 30-yard line. A defensive touchdown for Indiana to get it started. D'Angelo Pons has the Hoosiers in front. Football on the Big Ten Network is sponsored by Marathon, proud to save drivers and their co-pilots up to $1 per gallon. By State Farm, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. And by Discover. Well, Indiana, the center of the college football universe last week, again this week. Lee Corso and Game Day returned. I'll give you one guess who he picked. The first coach to ever win a bowl game here at Indiana. You know, these two teams have played 3 times previously. Lee Corso was the coach here the last time Washington came here and Indiana beat them. Tyson Lawton with his first carry of the game to start this second drive for Indiana. And let's take a look at today's Impact Players, sponsored by Auto Owners Insurance.
Well, I think Elijah Surratt, I mean, he's done such a nice job at the wide receiver position, but this offense, I think, really runs through tight end Zach Horton. Keep an eye on him moving. And then at the defensive end position, Zach Durfee for Washington. See if he can make an impact coming off of an injury at the defensive end.
Taven Jackson, quick throw, receiver fell down, and penalty comes out. He was looking for Elijah Surratt, matched up with Ephesians Pryzak. Taven Jackson he's thinking, wait, today's my first start? I've been standing on the sideline.
Pass interference, defense, number 7. Ball we placed at the spot of the foul, automatic first down.
This is a matchup we'll watch all game long. Pryzak is a long, physical corner. Surratt, he might be the best receiver who came through the transfer portal this season. Contact, easy call.
Jackson, great pocket, plenty of time. And right on the money, Surratt, a first down out of bounds. Let's go down to Rhett.
Quarterback coach Tino Sinceri was really impressed with Taven Jackson, not because of what he did on the field, but because of what he sounded like coming off the field, saying, this is what I saw, this is what the defense was doing, and this is why I made that decision. A signal that the mental side was catching up to the elite physical traits.
Well, he's working quickly again here, Rhett, on the money to Zach Horton.
You know, something that Coach Signetti and the staff told us was that his job as a backup quarterback was not to signal in plays necessarily. It was to think as though he was playing the game in all of the previous games this season. So when he got here as the starter, it wasn't as though, oh, this is a totally new experience for him. I think that's why we saw him thrive in the second half against Nebraska last week.
Last week he had no time to think about it, right? He's had a whole week to think about this. Or maybe a whole life. He wants to throw, second and short. End zone shot, and he overthrows Surratt. That had some heat on it.
Well, we did talk to the staff of, hey, how do you want to approach early on in the game with this young quarterback, Taven Jackson? There's a lot of thoughts out there. Hey, you want a QB run game? You want to get a quick throw? Do you want to take a shot? Because you know the performance anxiety is going to be there. He's stoked. The crowd is on fire, et cetera, et cetera. And I think we've seen him either put a little too much gas on a couple early balls or misfire right there on a potential touchdown.
So now it's 3rd and 2. Justice Ellison. And he's met right at the marker. This is going to be close.
Justice Ellison on the carry.
The line to gain is the 32-yard line. And that is short. Well,
take a look at the push. Nice tackle there on the inside. Looks short.
And they're going to direct snap it. And Jackson will have to get unpiled here. Washington thinks they got him stopped. That was 4th down.
Looked like the official on Washington's sideline had him for a 1st down. On the other side did not, just based on where they ran out.
On the 3rd down play.
Yeah.
Again, the 32 is where they're trying to get, and we're going to get a measurement.
Yeah, I think they're going to be good just by a few whiskers. We'll see.
Oh man, this is close.
Maybe not.
Washington's defense stands. Let's take another look at this and see if we can tell Yogi.
Again, your point, you got to get to the 32. I don't know if you can see the ball where it might be. It's really going to be where did they blow the whistle, come back, maybe UW ball, maybe Indiana. We'll see how it goes at the break.
Take a walk on this beautiful campus and get an 80-degree day yesterday. Autumn here in Bloomington, just gorgeous colors all around town. Beautiful night last night. It's turned into a gorgeous day. Breezy, sunny. Really, Yogi, is not a cloud in the sky. So after the 4th down stop for Washington's defense, the Huskies take over. And Jonah Coleman gets the carry. And through a big hole and then gets bounced and brought down. Sean Asbury closed that hole quickly.
Tell you what, when you go up against Jonah Coleman, watch all the guys rally to him as you see Damon Williams in at quarterback. First guy rarely tackles Jonah Coleman. Almost 70% of his yards are after contact. 1, 2, and a nice job rallying to the football from Pons to finish it off.
Damon Williams, the freshman, remaining in at quarterback. This is part of what Washington does on offense.
Yeah, they want to get him 12 to 15 snaps a game in different situations. He also offers up a different element with his legs.
Couple of quick fakes and then a throw over the middle, and Aiden Fisher almost intercepted it.
And that's a freshman for you. It was a blind throw. He's faking a screen to his left. Watch him pump. He's going to pump again. You got to see where the linebackers drop. To me, he just sees his tight end, never sees where Aiden Fisher is, and he's lucky there wasn't another turnover as this place is on its feet on a 3rd down.
Damon Williams, the true freshman, the future of this program, they believe at quarterback, remains in the game. Pressure. Steps out. Makes a break for it, and ball comes out after he hit the ground. The result of the run should have him a 1st down. They did not rule him down. Right now they're ruling this a fumble based on where they're marking it, but they're also moving the chains. Let's see.
Well, it's the right call by the officials to let the play just continue on. Let's see when he goes down. Down. Yep. Good job by the officials being efficient there.
And so a 1st down for Washington.
ruling on the field is a fumble recovered by the offense. Previous play is under further review.
So I think it's going to be a first down for Washington, Yogi, but they're going to lose yards based on where the ball is marked right now, where the fumble was recovered. But you're saying you don't think he fumbled that ball?
Didn't look out to me.
So they'll have to bring it back to the spot. Let's see. So where's the ball there?
And what's the first thing that goes down?
Right.
To me, it's his elbow.
There's three things we're looking at here, right? Where's the ball if he has possession? Is it a first down? I think so.
Agree.
And you're saying you also think he's down?
And I think he's down. Yeah, the first shot we had where he was coming right at us, that to me told everything. This is the shot right here. Ball secure, elbow down, he's down, ball comes out. To me, it's an easy one.
Yeah.
So now it's just where's the spot?
Well, it's easy for you to say it's an easy.
Of course, it's always easy from up here.
But you think it's clear.
I think it's clear.
So, you know, they'll bring the ball back about, I think it's about 3 yards.
After further review, the runner was down. The ball will be placed at the 43-yard line, 1st and 10, Washington.
Mike Pereira back in LA, what do you think?
I like the decision. That's something that they had two things to review. Number one, was it a fumble, which was not? And then the spot was a good one where they placed it for a first down.
All right, thank you, Mike. And you know, they also had the continuing action, as Mike said, they didn't blow that, or he alluded to, they didn't blow it dead. But Washington did get a recovery there as well. Should it have come to that, but it didn't. Will Rogers back into the game, first down for Washington. And Rogers is going to throw under pressure over the middle. Denzel Boston down inside the 40.
We talked about the play action game being such a factor for Washington. It again is. You watch the linebackers for Indiana. They get sucked up on this play action to stop Jonah Coleman. You can see Aiden Fisher in your screen there. And then just get the ball thrown right behind him, right behind Aiden Fisher over his helmet. This is where Jedd Fisch really wants to operate today. If they can have a little success running the football, the play action game will be a staple with them moving the football.
18-yard play, biggest offensive play for either team in this first quarter. Neither offense has scored. Jonah Coleman breaks 2 tackles and gets 5 yards where it looked like there were none, maybe 4. It'll bring up 2nd and 6.
You know, the philosophy of this defense is to get as much penetration in the defensive line as possible. You see it right here. 2 defensive linemen in the backfield. There's one. Kamara missed the tackle. There's another one, another missed tackle. Linebackers have to clean it up. Problem is you're going up against a back that is very slippery and strong. So you got to rally with multiple bodies to the ball.
5'9", 230. Jonah Coleman. Feed him again. This time it was Devon Williams in the game to hand it off to him. And he's going to make it 3rd down and short. Back and forth they go with the quarterbacks on this drive. It's still Devon Williams. Will Rogers on the sideline.
This is advantage UW. They didn't change personnel.
And now Jedd Fisch is going to take a timeout. Here, 3rd and 1.
Timeout Washington, the first charge of the half. Please reset the game clock to 19 seconds.
First quarter has 13 seconds left in it. Experience the expanded Big Ten Conference like never before with Big Ten Plus. Stream thousands of non-televised live events across the Big Ten. Plus enjoy next day game replays for every Big Ten game. Subscribe right now at BigTenPlus.com. You wonder, Yogi, with the quarter running out, why use the timeout? But maybe Jedd Fisch, he didn't want his quarterback to snap the ball.
Yeah, I think that's the only reason you do it. Remember, the headset was about to turn off, right? It was about 22, 21 seconds on the play clock as the clock was ticking down. And to me, they added 6 seconds to where the clock was prior to the timeout. It looked like it was 13. Now it's at 19.
And now Will Rogers is back into the game at quarterback. With Floyd Tanufi, the defensive lineman in the game at fullback, on 3rd down and less than a yard. And they're going to throw. Rogers, Boston, single coverage with Pons, and it's incomplete. And does that mean they're going to go for it here? 4th down?
Well, it's decision time. Washington struggled in the kicking game, as we know, all season long. Indiana hasn't given up a point in the first quarter all season long. So either way, it's an intriguing snap, as looks like the offense is staying out there.
And Voit Tanufi, the 6'1", 282-pound defensive lineman, remains in the game.
And that's why I have no problem with the play before. Jedd Fisch knew it was 4 down opportunity. I'd imagine they're going to follow that big defensive lineman.
Zachary Henning, extra offensive lineman. Coleman steps out. Stiff arm brought down. Lost yardage. 4th down, turnover on downs. Amari Farrell all over it.
This defense starts with this defensive front, and the only goal is to create havoc. Look at the havoc coming your way. That's Linnell Carr, number 41. His penetration is what spills the run to Amari Farrell. They take on that block from Voit Tanufi. No problem. Yes, missed the first tackle, but they rally to the football every snap. There's so many hats around the rock. A huge stop here in the rock.
Taven Jackson and his offense before the end of this first quarter. Tyson Lawton gets about 3. And that'll be the end of the first quarter. Neither offense scores. Indiana's defense has them on the board.
This is the end of the first.
Indiana's good. That's new. UW's here. That's new. This feels like old school Big Ten football.
All right, Coach, defense comes up with some big plays. Pons touchdown, 4th down stop. What are they doing well?
Coming up with key plays at the right time, because Washington's had some conversions, putting pretty good pressure on the quarterback. Offensively, we haven't done anything. Made a bad play on the punt return. So we got to get something going on offense. We can't just keep relying on our defense. We got to get going.
Coach, thank you.
Thanks.
All right, Rhett, that Indiana offense shut out in a quarter for just the 2nd time this year. And now they start here, 2nd down and 8.
I wouldn't be surprised. This is the quarterback run game. How do you get going, add an extra element to the run game, force Washington to tackle the quarterback?
Taven Jackson's only rush was a 4th down sneak attack. And now he pulls it down right on cue, Yogi, and dives forward for a good gain on 1st.
This is a designed run. This is a QB draw. They go empty. Linebackers are thinking this offense is going to do what they've done all year, which is spin it. Nope. And it's really one-on-one. Jackson against Alfonso Tupatala, the linebacker. Way to get this quarterback going and involved.
What does that do to Washington's defense? What are they thinking now?
Well, now they're thinking he's a threat running the ball, right? This whole first quarter for Steve Belichick was trying to figure out what do they want to do with this quarterback. The problem was Indiana hasn't had a lot of snaps, only 10 snaps in the first quarter. Not a big data point to study and assess, so you still don't even know what Indiana's trying to do with Taven Jackson. Now the QB run game is a factor.
It's an offense that entered play today 4th in the country in offensive yards per play, over 7.5 yards per play. Looked like he's setting up the screen, and then he just gets rid of it. Tanufi, who was just in at fullback on the other side of the ball, with a big hit on Taven Jackson.
And Tanufi is a dominant player on this defensive front. Washington wants to get 5 defenders on these 5 offensive linemen, so they have to block them, have to be accountable. Tupatala in the middle, Tanufi coming from the edge. That's a huge part of this scheme. Big win after a 4th down stop for UW's defense.
Well, it was interesting talking to, the coaches about what's a win. And sometimes a win is taking a sack, throwing it away, living for another play. Denzel Boston's going to let this fly, and it checks up beautifully from James Evans. And the crowd loves that. Good field position for Indiana's defense. He doesn't get much work this year, the punter.
Especially early in games, but making his impact felt on special teams. And it's becoming a little bit of a field position game. 2nd time this game, Washington is now backed up.
Take a look at the by the numbers, sponsored by Cheez-It. held Washington to 105 on third down and a pick six. The only score of the game. Will Rogers to hand it off. Jonah Coleman wrapped up and pulled back. C.J. West has been a force early.
Yeah, he has. And go back to that graphic. The only third down conversion was Damon Williams with his legs. So you wonder if UW wants to go back to that. Now, I wouldn't do it when you're backed up, but if they can get out of here, do they try to add that extra element? Because they have struggled on the offensive front protecting against penetration from a very active defensive line. And again, Guy, the only job for this defensive front is to get into the backfield. They trust these veteran linebackers to clean everything up.
They allowed 8 sacks the last 2 weeks after they gave up just 7 in the first 5. Rogers with pressure in his face cuts it loose, and it's picked again. Pons got another. A pick six already today, and now a 50-50 ball that belongs to D'Angelo Pons.
Well, it's a matchup we talked about a lot in advance of this game. Boston versus Pons. He's on top of him the whole time. He's on top of the route. Watch his eyes the whole time tracking the ball against Washington's most explosive receiver. High point. Boston trying to become a DB and break it away, but Pons does a better job of making the play. Second pick of the game, 2 coming into today.
It was Jalen Walker that was in the face of the quarterback, Will Rogers, as Ellison gets 4 yards.
And this is impressive. Watch, you see to the corner there, running the route, running with them, and then you see how he turns his head there? A lot of DBs don't do that. That's why you see PIs. Turns his head as the ball's in the air as the receiver looks. That's how he makes a play.
Indiana with pressure coming. Jackson has it picked up. Long throw on a line. It's caught. Omar Cooper. Touchdown Hoosiers. And B-Town is bubbling over. .42 yards on the connection. What's that coaching point?
He's saying high and tight. Always coaching on the sidelines is Coach Sig.
Radicic. All they let him kick is extra points. I think I saw a smile.
Yeah, just a little one, a little smirk. Well, I'll tell you what, it starts on defense. D'Angelo Pons, his second pick of the game, acrobatic. And then it flips to offense, and you see that arm talent, that big playability. And this crowd, I'll tell you what, they are going nuts. And these two, yeah, a little high five for 7.
Let's take a look at today's scoring drive, brought to you by Marathon.
Well, this one was anything but a marathon. 2 plays, 27 ticks. And the explosive plays that this offense has been known for showed up again.
Another fair catch from Keith Reynolds, and the 25-yard line again for Washington. Look at what they've done through 7 games. The scoring margin plus 245. Compare that with CFP participants, Ohio State from 22, Michigan from last year, and Georgia back-to-back years. They are outpacing those 4 teams, and all 4 of them ended up in the college football playoff. And Yogi, it wasn't a 12-team college football playoff like it is now.
Yeah, and I think that's the point. Like, Indiana's beyond just a great story. They're a heck of a team that are playing at a really high level. Through a quarter and some change, that narrative continues.
Will Rogers throws behind, but it sticks in the hands of Jeremiah Hunter, and a big first down for Washington, trying to stem this tide a little bit and force Indiana into a close game.
Yeah, look, they're very capable of moving the ball. They've moved on a lot of people. The system that Jed Fish, Brennan Carroll and company have implemented is one that comes from the NFL, trying to mirror the run and pass game.
Back to Jonah Coleman. Coleman breaks through across midfield, a stiff arm, and Coleman is going to get deep into Indiana territory. Finally pushed out at the 20.
First guy never tackles him. It just doesn't happen. Again, like this scheme, instead of going outside zone, they go a little bit more downhill. Right from under center. When you go downhill like that, you make it even harder for a very aggressive defensive line to get penetration to make a play. They make an aggressive defense pay, and as always, one guy will not take him down.
Coleman again. That previous run was 56 yards. And he's one of the most explosive runners in college football by the numbers. 10-yard carries. He's third in the country.
Yeah, and look, that's the third time they've run the ball from under center with Jonah Coleman directly behind the quarterback. And that's a scheme thing. You know, this system that Jedd Fisch runs comes from the NFL. Alex Gibbs, Google him, right? He's like the godfather in the zone running scheme. But you got to be able to move the line of scrimmage a little bit. They've struggled there, so they're trying to get more downhill.
Pump and caught. And another first down for Washington, Jeremiah Hunter. He's been the go-to guy today so far.
Biggest part of Will Rogers' game is when he is in rhythm, he can be lethal. When he can see it, when it's a clear picture, nobody's coming, he goes to his right, no problem, finds his wide out. Jeremiah Hunter in the zone, does the rest. And now you're inside the 10. And they love going to Boston in the bunch at the top of the screen down here in the red zone.
Cam Davis has come into the game at running back, and he'll get it. And he gets swallowed up almost immediately.
This is such a physical game. Liddell Carr, listen to this one.
It's a lot of snaps for this defense, Yogi. They've been on the field a lot.
They have rotated bodies, though, especially in the defensive front, trying to play a couple different guys just to keep everybody fresh. Marcus Burris in now.
They'll hand it off. And around, and reaching for the end zone. Giles Jackson is in. And Washington is on the board.
And they caught this Indiana defense not truly aligned. Really nice job from the offensive front, the play calling, quarterback, just the whole operation there. Seeing a little bit of an opportunity for advantage, took full advantage of that for a touchdown.
So now Grady Gross on for the point after. A quick strike for UW.
So much about Washington this season is just getting out of their own way. They were, look at this, quick snap, quickly to the line of scrimmage. They catch the defense, they can't align, take advantage of it. Giles Jackson, effort into the end zone, and away we go. We got a ball game, 14-7.
A red out for a red-hot Indiana football team, 7-0. Washington, the first time they've been here as a Big Ten opponent, and they just scored. This place is rocking, and it's a 14-7 game. Pat McAfee lost his shirt.
I mean, it's about time. I mean, how about on the pick six?
You're right, that shirt's probably been off for a while.
I hope so. I hope so for his sake.
And Indiana's going to start from the 25-yard line, and let's go down on the field. Rhett Lewis.
Yeah, you know, the NFL influence is all over Jedd Fisch's staff there at Washington. You remember he spent a ton of years in the NFL. Last time he was there was with Sean McVay. So I talked to the Rams head coach this week about Fisch, said he's one of the most detailed and organized people I've ever seen around his ability to hold so much information, segment his brain from a football and culture perspective. McVay said he loves the resilience and mental toughness his teams play with, and we certainly saw that on that answer by the UW offense. And then hiring Steve Belichick, that was an intentional move, Guy and Yogi. He wanted an NFL DC.
Tyson Lawton gets the carry. And let's go to Rick Pizzo in Chicago for an update.
Guy, thank you. Took almost a full quarter, but Ohio State is on the board in Columbus. Will Howard to Carnell Tate, 40 yards on the touchdown hookup. Buckeyes over the Huskers, 7-0.
All right, Rick. Of course, Indiana is going to be there soon for a game that could have big implications. Second down here, and Jackson pulls it back and throws it out of bounds. It's Steve Belichick by the numbers, going back to what Rhett was talking about. Yogi, they've played really good defense this year. They just haven't maybe seen a passing attack quite like what Indiana's put together this year.
Yeah, and I think to the point of Jedd Fisch, when he was building this staff out, he wanted to go NFL, and he said he looked at college football, and 3 of the top 10 defenses from a year ago had defensive coordinators with NFL experience. Just felt like he had to do that. Of course, he worked with Steve Belichick with the Patriots under his father, Bill Belichick. Just true and total trust in the scheme. And you're seeing such a variance of looks within this scheme thus far today.
Good pocket, third down, sideline, Surratt, and that's incomplete. And he's getting face to face with Thaddeus Dixon, who was in coverage there. Nearly made a great catch. He's done that a few times this season.
Yeah, and he's always got a great awareness of the sideline. Oh, yeah. If he held on to that, who knows? But regardless, you see the matchup, and you also see a big stop for that Belichick-led defense that Rhett was referencing.
Jackson is 3 of 8 now today, as Evans punts again. Had a great one his last time. Boston, fair catches this at about the 32-yard line, 38 yards on the boot. And Washington taking over with a chance to tie. Next Saturday, Big Ten Tailgate is in Lincoln to set the scene for another spectacular day of football. Fun begins at 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 Pacific, only on the Big Ten Network and the Fox Sports app. We're walking in with Rhett Lewis, who played here, and I said, Rhett, this place knows how to party. He's like, oh, yeah. We know what we're doing. You give us an event, we'll be there.
Amen. They knew he was here, too. Yelling for him from the tailgate section the entire time this morning.
Memories of a half-empty Memorial Stadium seem distant now, the way this place has been packed. Will Rogers has it deflected, and it's caught anyway by Jeremiah Hunter. Great concentration from him into Indiana territory. Mario Landino got a finger on it, but not enough.
Yeah, look, a couple passes have been tipped. We'll see this one from the freshman. How about the awareness and then the focus, to your point? God, that's impressive from Hunter. A pretty good game thus far. I like it. A little play action again, this time getting outside the pocket.
4 catches, 60 yards for Hunter today. Trying to throw back the screen, and Rogers will live for another play.
I think a big part for Washington in terms of their success on the previous drive is field position, where the drives were starting. I mean, 2 of the first 5 drives began really backed up, and they had to survive the surge, Guy, from this crowd, from this Indiana team. Down 14-0, you're thinking, all right, is this a rout? They survived it, and I think going on the road to Iowa is something they leaned on a lot in this bye week. Going to Rutgers and losing on a Friday night. I mean, they've been in raucous environments before.
Rogers gives to Jonah Coleman 14th carry of the game, and he's able to get a couple of yards. Well, until last week when UCLA won at Rutgers and Oregon won at Purdue, none of the West Coast teams had one going 2 time zones towards the Midwest or the East or into 3. But Washington had this experience 2 weeks ago going to Iowa. Indiana had this experience last week, and Nebraska just kind of went away. Washington's trying to avoid that fate. On 3rd down, Rogers hits Boston. He's tackled at the 40 and is going to be 4 yards shy. What do you do here?
You go for it if you're Jedd Fisch. I mean, this is kind of like a 4-down territory game for the head coach and play caller. He's also the communicator via helmet communication to his quarterback, and Curt Cignetti knew that. He knew this was going to be an aggressive game plan from UW. This is kind of that fringe red zone area. So now, what do you do if you're Indiana? To me, I'd bring a little bit of pressure and always, again, know where this receiving core is with this tight end, Latu. They'd like him at the bottom of the screen.
He hasn't touched the ball yet today. Rodgers looking for him. Now steps up, and he gets upended by Aiden Fisher, and it's going to depend on the spot. It looked like he had a clear path to a first down, Yogi, and then Aiden Fisher just appeared.
He wanted to throw it to Latu.
Yep.
And it was Jalen Walker, and then to your point, Aiden Fisher, that forced him to run and then made the tackle.
Game clock operator, please reset.
And they're marking it short, turnover on downs.
Watch these linebackers right here as the play unfolds. They're all over the tight end, and then immediately when they see Will Rogers starting to run, they drive on him and make an incredible tackle, end over end.
Thank you.
I mean, right through the thigh pad. There's Fisher. He sees the tight end, and then look at his eyes. Bam! He's off on him, and he's on Will Rogers, the quarterback. A big stop and another momentum swing here in this stadium.
Well, we know Aiden Fisher's a good player. He's a good teacher. He was one of the many players that came from James Madison, had to help teach this defense to the other new Hoosiers or the existing Hoosiers. They've done a great job. Mikel Easteen, who has a big role today because of injury on this UW defense with the play.
Cameron Broussard not going to go, hasn't gone today for Washington, so they're going to rotate a lot of guys in the back end. And again, when you look at this Washington defense, you can't treat them as this is a defensive end, this is a linebacker. You got to treat them almost as X's if you're Taven Jackson and understand where guys are flowing to.
After the turnover on downs, Jackson, back foot throw on the money. Miles Cross with a first down.
You know, we talked about in the beginning, Guy, of Taven Jackson. He just has to do his 1/11th. You see this offense get going again. But a nice job. Just understand where the receivers are. He's got 10 other players that have thrived all season long, especially at wide receiver.
Indiana going back to tempo. Gets it out quickly. Justice Ellison, 2 defenders there, and they help him out after a gain of 2. But we know Zach Durfee was questionable today for Washington, a key defensive end. And they've been a little bit beat up. Even after the bye week, weren't able to get totally healthy. 5 completions to 5 different receivers for Taven Jackson today. Ellison churning forward to make it 3rd down and 3.
So much for this quarterback is putting him in situations where he can see the defense clearly. Previous snap, anticipating pressure, they change the play, no problem. All of a sudden now you're in 3rd and short. Totally different than if you're running the play that was originally called. And that's why Curtis Rourke, he would go at times 2 or 3 plays in the line of scrimmage. Nothing has changed with Taven Jackson. If anything, more QB run. Don't be shocked to see one here.
Okay, you called the last one. You got it right. Here's a flip. Justice Ellison, Cam Fabiculanen coming downhill and stops him just a yard shy, 4th and 1.
And flip the field, you're going for it here. Right, 4 down territory. And they love all season long, Mike Shanahan and company. Tino Sunseri, you see him there next to Coach Cignetti. They love these bunch formations. They really challenge a defense in terms of their gap integrity. They thought coming into this game they could have success running the football. A big part of that now for this IU defense on 4th and short is number 44. Zach Horton comes back into the ball game. Often when it's critical, the offense goes through him.
So crowd likes this. Jackson gives to Ellison, and into the pile he goes, and it looks like he'll come out of it with a first down.
You know, we talked to Steve Belichick in advance of the game. Said, how do you approach this new quarterback? He said, I got to kind of get through the first quarter to see what they're trying to do. They're not doing anything different than they did with Curtis Rourke, except the quarterback draw that we saw earlier in the ball game. But we know that there's other stuff. And a big part of Indiana is trying to stay a step ahead of the defense. When they anticipate the defense adjusting, they want to adjust.
Kaylon Black is the back, and he's going to get it. And he gets to the sideline at about the 32-yard line. Curtis Rourke had surgery on Monday. He said it went well. It's possible that he's ready to return by next week. Time will tell. And so that'll be for another day, as Curt Cignetti likes to say, tomorrow is a concept. All we have is right now. And right now, we're in this packed full stadium with a 3rd down and long coming up. And let's go down to Rhett.
Yeah, Curtis Rourke has been a major piece of the preparation this week. In fact, he's been preparing like the starter. He's done nothing different in his preparation for a week because Tino Sunseri, the quarterback coach, wants him to be ready when he gets back into this thing, not having missed too much time. He's also been a critical piece for Taven Jackson. He's not trying to overload him with too much input, but he is watching a specific side of the field. And so when the offense comes off, he's able to talk to Taven for a minute while Sunseri's talking with offensive coordinator Mike Shanahan, and then they all come back together and get a firm grasp of what's going on out there.
Big moment here for him. 3rd down, pressure comes, and he completes a 1st down throw to Miles Price.
I mean, he just spins darts, doesn't he? And to me, the biggest element of an elite quarterback is, can you make spot throws? Right on the left shoulder of Miles Price. And here we go with the middle 8.
Quick throw, and that is caught by Keyshawn Williams, his first of the day, and he's brought down by Jordan Shaw, the Indiana transfer for Washington.
Let's take a look at this throw again. Look, this young man has always had elite arm talent. We had him at the Elite 11. You could tell he was special. But now, understanding this system, knowing where he needs to put the football, knowing the situation, where the sticks are, that ball was out immediately in this pure progression system, which sets up an opportunity to score before half that they have done a lot. 52 points for Indiana in the last 4 minutes of the first half.
Follow at B1G Football right now on X, YouTube, and Instagram to get immediate access to the best highlights, features, and the team you love. Don't wait any longer. Follow at B1G Football on social media right now. This has been a social media haven all around campus. Lined up yesterday, students in folding chairs, computers on their laps. Study later.
Yeah, that's right. Those T-shirts are selling out.
Those T-shirts are being worn all over the stadium. So after the 2-minute timeout, 2nd and 7 for Jackson. Gets it out quickly to Zach Horton. And he's pulled down shy of the 1st down. This will be 3rd and really short.
And I do not think this is 4-down territory here. So what do you want to do? You want to milk the clock as much as you can. You want to make sure Washington, which has quick strike ability, that offense doesn't see the field. As in this situation, oftentimes we'll see Tyler Stevens in, an extra offensive lineman. He rolls in at the top of the screen next to Zach Horton.
2 tight ends in the game, plus the other extra offensive lineman. And Lawton has a big hole, and he bounces off the defender for the 1st down.
The whole world thinks they're going right, and they say, no, we are going left. Nice job from Lawton. Just breaking a tackle. Right, opportunity from Carson Bruner to make a play in the backfield. Doesn't make it. Now you're working the clock here if you're Indiana. You got all 3 timeouts. Manage the situation for the first time here for Taven Jackson in this type of setting.
Get the ball first in the 2nd half, too. Here's Lawton. Lawton pushing forward. Indiana just has the ability to always have a strong, tough running back rested.
You say the same thing at receiver, and now you're kind of saying it at quarterback to a degree, right? With the job that Taven Jackson has done.
Justice Ellison will come in.
Timeout, Washington.
Washington takes a timeout, and they have 1 remaining.
30 seconds in length.
We'll be back in 30.
Game clock operator, please put 55 seconds on the game clock. 55.
Coming up next, Rick, Jerry, Howard, Brock. First half highlights and analysis The Huskers and the Buckeyes, plus the Paul Bunyan preview. That's coming up at the half. Presented by Defender. Washington just used its second timeout. 55 seconds remaining here in the first half.
Another extra old lineman in.
They'll go to Lawton. Lawton cuts it back, and he gets down to about the 3. Washington's been very good defensively. They'll take a timeout, and they'll have one remaining.
Timeout Washington, third and final of the half. 30-second timeout.
And we're back in 30. Curtis Rourke and his offense so efficient. Indiana 5th in the nation in touchdown percentage in the red zone, but Washington's very good in the red zone on defense. After the Washington timeout, 3rd and 2. Taven Jackson is down at the 1, but that's a first down. So it's going to be 1st and goal.
This is a wrinkle. Curtis Rourke wasn't doing this. This is kind of QB lead here. Has a blocker, and that's the right call. His knee is down, and they are hustling up to the line of scrimmage.
Justice Ellison is shy of the goal line, and now it's 2nd and goal, and Indiana will use a timeout.
Timeout Indiana, first charge of the half. Game clock operator, please reset the game clock to 33 seconds.
Okay, they take another look inside. Nice job from Deshaun Lynch and Alfonso Tupatala at the point of attack. And I think it should be noted too, coming into this game, we all expected Zach Durfee to play. Arguably one of the better edge rushers for Washington. He hasn't gone. He's in shorts and a jersey on the sideline. So it's next man up mentality. They need one more snap out of this defensive line here. And I wouldn't be shocked if they went to quarterback sneak.
Only Army has run for more touchdowns in the country than Indiana. 17th play of the drive. On the ground, Lawton, and he is short. They're fighting over inches down there.
Yeah, and look, sometimes when you're in the gun there, it's hard. Yes, you want to give your back a little bit of a head start, but it's so close. Let's look at this one right down the line.
Second charge, 30-second timeout.
That is so close. I mean, if Miles Cross could just kind of slide out of the way there, if you don't mind.
I'm not sure the ball broke the plane anyway. It was kissed right up against the goal line. So one timeout left for Indiana. This drive has been a marathon. 18th play coming up.
And it's exactly what you want in terms of the middle late. And Indiana's been phenomenal at it. Most points in this league in the last 4 minutes of the first half and the first 4 of the second.
Jedd Fisch told us his defense prides itself on this part of the field. Can they do it again? 3rd and goal. Jackson gives it, and Lawton is stopped. A stone wall of Huskies has built itself down on the 1-yard line, and now it's 4th down.
And this seemed a little clunky on the zone read. And here comes a timeout for the kick before half. That's a frustrated Curt Cignetti, but it looked a little clunky on the zone read guy. I thought that Taven Jackson either had to give it faster or decide to keep it. I thought he hesitated just a little bit. Carson Bruner found his way into the backfield. Bruner sees it the whole way. Is he going to give it? Give it. He does. Lucky the ball almost doesn't pop out there. Bruner all over it. Nice job from Mikel Easting as well, stepping in for Cameron Broussard at the safety spot, and that is a stonewall of stonewalls. That is leg drive to a T.
Carson Bruner been dealing with a sprained shoulder, so the bye week coming out of Iowa was really good for him. What a stand by Washington's defense. 19-yard attempt here for Nicholas Radicic. And he drills it. So Indiana's going to hit the locker room with the lead, but Washington's going to hit the locker room feeling okay.
They're going to say, hey, look, we hurt ourselves with, call it a fluky-esque pick six. Guys, we've had bad field position. Let's calm down and move the rock. And for Indiana, they're saying, when we find our rhythm, just came on that near 20-play drive. If we just continue to execute, we got a great shot to extend this lead. But don't go anywhere, man. We got a game right now for a touchdown. But overall, a solid half from him. They got to execute at a higher rate, just like Coach Cignetti told Rhett before the half.
Let's go down on the field to Rhett Lewis, who just spoke with Jedd Fisch.
Yeah, love the way his defense is competing, especially down there on the goal line going into the half. Not worried about that side of the ball. They are playing their you-know-what's off, as he said. Can't have 3 possessions on offense and inside the Indiana 40-yard line without any points. That kind of mimics, guys, the struggles that they've actually been having on the red zone, but kind of having them a little bit further out in this game. So see if they can get that part of things corrected. And then for Taven Jackson, Yogi, I feel like maybe we see a little bit more of that QB run game going into the second half here.
Jackson to throw. And that's broken up into the air, intercepted. And the tide has turned for the Huskies. What an athletic catch from Jacob Bandes.
How about that? And that was the first time we talked about spot throws in the first half from Taven Jackson. He misses a little high. Nice play in the secondary. The ball gets batted up, and then maybe the best catch of the day from Bandes. You'll see it right here. A little high. There's some contact there. Dixon and the receiver, but the catch and the interception from Bandes. Can argue a little contact early, but the one-handed grab, catch of the day right now. No surprise, his first career interception
I was going to ask you
by
to
the
guess.
defensive lineman.
He's ripping down an O board right there.
Look at that.
And so now Washington takes over. Jonah Coleman getting fed in that first half. That's his 15th carry of the day. Telling everybody about it over on the sideline.
As he should. That's an athletic play. I mean, he's in mid-air. He sticks out that big mid of his, pulls it in. Oftentimes you see that ball get fumbled all around, and there's frustration, all celebration on that sideline.
How about the ricochet, the velocity that Jackson throws it with? That thing had an 8-yard ricochet on it. Second down and 8. Rhett just mentioned the red zone struggles for Washington, something that's bit them this year. Roll out, Rogers gets it to Kaleki Latu, his tight end's first catch of the day. Fisher's there to make the stop, and it's third down.
There's an opportunity there for Rogers to even keep it and run it here on the third down. And now, if you're Jedd Fisch, you're thinking, is this 4-down territory? They've had field goal struggles. I don't think so right now, but if you do, you're thinking all I got to do is get half here because I know I have another down.
Damon Williams has come into the game, QB2, the true freshman. They use him throughout. And he's got Coleman and Giles Jackson beside him in the loud end of the stadium, in front of the student section. Coleman bounces it. Coleman has the first down. What a machine!
His superpower is not just that leg drive, but it's staying square. Watch him on this run. He stays square, and then boom, all of a sudden he can make you think you got to go inside, no shot. Make you think you can have one tackle, no shot. And he just continues to move past you. And he's so explosive, got a low center of gravity, and man, is he packing a punch.
Second highest broken tackle percentage in the country. Damon Williams keeping it, and he's into the end zone. Touchdown, Washington. What a turn of events.
Jedd Fisch fired up, went over to Jacob Bandes, give him a little fist pump. We said QB run game. Were you thinking it was going to be Indiana? No, it's UW. Very similar to how this game began. A turnover, explosive play, touchdown for Indiana. Here's a turnover, touchdown on a QB run for Washington.
The interceptions have been everything in this game. And you got to go back to the end of the first half too, Yogi, where Washington's defense stopped Indiana on 5 straight run plays inside the 6-yard line and held them to a field goal.
2 straight drives by this defense has allowed them to get within 3. And a big part, of course, is from the big man, Jacob Bandes. He's excited. This Washington team is excited on the road. They silenced this crowd, and Jedd Fisch, that little fist bump from the head guy as well.
We asked Curt Cignetti if he wanted to see his team tested in a close game this week, and he said, not really. But here they are in a 3-point game after Washington's touchdown.
Well, we followed up and said, how do you think they'll do when they do meet adversity? And he didn't flinch. He said, they'll be fine. As calm as can be, they'll be fine. Let's find out here after Washington has really taken the momentum and kind of taken the air out of this stadium with as raucous as it has been this afternoon. Been pretty quiet here in the early portion of the third quarter.
And you know, it's a great test for Taven Jackson, right? When they had Curtis Work, they knew exactly what they had. He was unfazable, they said. So here's Taven Jackson out, a 3rd-year sophomore. Started 5 games last year, started his career at Tennessee, and now he's going to be back out of the 25-yard line in a moment. Meanwhile, how have the Huskies gotten themselves back in this game?
Well, really nice job schematically in that first touchdown. Remember, the offensive line sprinted to the line of scrimmage, and then they get a huge stop. Carson Bruner and company before the half, holding Indiana only to 3, and then the sudden change. Thaddeus Dixon bats the ball up into the air. Jacob Bandes does the rest. Touchdown a few plays later, and we got a 3-point ball game.
The first 5 drives, nothing, including that pick 6, but then production. So Justice Ellison back to work, trying to settle things down a little bit. How have you thought Taven Jackson has looked today? How do you think he's handling this a whole week leading up to this moment?
Well, operationally, he's been flawless. He hasn't really made a poor decision. I just think sometimes early on, you felt a little of that performance anxiety. The ball, it seemed like, had a little extra juice on it, missed on one throw to his left, but he's going to the right place with the football.
Tyson Lawton with this carry. Burst to the sideline for a first down.
And I think they want to run the football now and then get, again, the QB run game involved a little bit with Taven Jackson out of the pistol here. Nice job pressing the hole and then getting to the outside from Lawton.
Curt Cignetti, the first Indiana coach to start his tenure 7-0. Ranked 13th in the nation, tied for first in the Big Ten. Just over a week before the first CFP rankings come out. Getting tested today. Taven Jackson will step out for no gain. This is a man who was 27 years an assistant coach. And in the 13 years as a head coach, he's never had a losing season.
It was cool seeing him with one of his old bosses and mentors, Nick Saban. They spent some time together the last couple days here on campus, and he's got a steady approach to him, and he's got a standard. We talked to Red about it before the half, that the offense is not meeting that. See if they can clean it up here in the second half. I'd get Elijah Surratt involved a little bit at the top of the screen.
They're going to go back to the ground here with Ellison, who cuts it back. Taven Jackson out blocking in front, and that tackle's made on the perimeter by Ephesians Prysock. Longest run of the game for Indiana.
Well, this zone read looks incredibly perfect, right? We talked about the one late in the first half, and again, keeping the shoulders square. Really nice job from Ellison, and he is a load, man. I mean, we spent some time with him yesterday. He's a thick, rocked-up dude. Always falls forward for the first down.
You want your backup quarterback lead blocking when the starter's out?
The concept is great. Reality, in terms of the physicality of it, not so much.
I'm sure his teammates love it, though, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, the team has really endeared themselves to Taven Jackson.
Here's Ellison, who gets ripped down. You mentioned, Yogi, we talked to Justice Ellison for a while yesterday. He's been so productive, such a team guy, a big smile on his face. He said they call me teeth and palms because when you see me, you see my teeth, and I'm always talking with my hands, you see my palms.
He also was the first true commit overall from the portal to Curt Cignetti. So it really means a lot to this program. He met with him, with his parents, and he said the look in Coach Sig's eyes told me all I needed to know, how serious he was about winning now.
2nd down and 9. Here's Lutton, the other back. And he gets a block, and he gets a little bit of help, and it's going to bring up 3rd down and long.
Washington does such a nice job with Steve Belichick of confusing the quarterback or just trying to force him to hold on to it by dropping defenders into coverage. You'll see them, they've just brought on 4 new players to this defense, so they're coming on in different waves. This is their speed package on defense. They love number 10, Lance Holtzclaw, and of course Alfonso Tupatala coming off of the edges and just trying to force Taven Jackson to think just a hair what to do as Steve Belichick tries to dial it up.
Crowd encouraging this offense on 3rd and 7. Hoping for something to cheer about. Jackson cuts another one loose. A dime right to Miles Price.
This is really an impressive job from this quarterback, Steve Temple. Look at these linebackers. They're going to drop into coverage right there, those two. That's going to force Taven Jackson to say, okay, let me throw it right over your head. Nice job from the young quarterback.
Looking all throughout the field. He tried to squeeze it into Surratt, and it's incomplete.
Talk about the matchup with Surratt and Prysock. Fijian's Prysock is an elite corner. Standing 6'4", buck 93. He's got long arms. These two have been matched up pretty much all game. For the majority of the ball game, Elijah Surratt really all season, he's going to line up to the left. And Prysock, same deal, lining up right over him.
So a 2nd down and 10 now. With the tight end, James Bamba in motion attached. A couple of tight ends in the game. Ellison trying to find his way, and he falls forward for a couple. Let's go down to Rhett Lewis on the field.
What, talking about Prysock lining up on Elijah Surratt, you know, if you think back to the Bill Belichick influence on defense, one of the hallmarks of that defense is trying to take away the top receiver, right? And Mike Shanahan, the offensive coordinator here at Indiana, kind of knew that. They were prepared for that. But they were like, well, if you take Surratt away, that's when Miles Price can hurt you. That's when Omar Cooper can hurt you. We saw that on that crossing route that Price ended up coming up with, but they have done a nice job on Elijah Surratt with Prysock again, kind of lined up over top of him here on a big 3rd down.
1 catch for Surratt today.
And it was, I believe, on the opening drive.
3rd down. Back to the ground. Ellison forcing his way forward, and this is going to be right at the marker. And it is a 1st down. This crowd getting warmed up again.
You know, Rhett was talking about the wide receivers a little bit. A big part of the run game is the splits of these wide receivers. Right, you see how you get inside, that wide receiver inside on Cameron Fabiculanen. Nice job by Miles Price. It's a big part of this run game. Then, of course, what comes off of that, the run-pass option element that they like out of this bunch formation.
Tyson Lawton stumbles forward. He saw the waters part and he slipped down.
He's trying to follow his lead blocker and Miles Cross. You know, they do such a nice job, Mike Shannon. They start in a bunch, and these offenses kind of mirror each other a little bit, where formationally they'll try to find areas where they can just create an extra angle, an extra gap. Sometimes receivers will be lead blockers. Of course, sometimes it's Zach Corton. James Bamba comes back into the game. It's a big part of both of these offenses that really don't play with a true fullback.
And now they're in the pistol.
I'm working up top. Surratt, man-to-man.
Back to the ground, Ellison. Ellison breaks 1 tackle and gets pulled down by Tupatala after a pickup that brings him down inside the 10.
Kind of feels like a drive where Curt Cignetti said, hey, we're going to run the football. Make them stop the run game. This offensive line doing a nice job getting to that second level, formationally trying to really challenge Washington's eyes. with a little bit of movement, sprinkling that into this offensive package.
They've converted both third downs they've had so far on this drive. Coming up on play 13. Remember, they had a 19-play drive before the half that ended with a field goal. Curt Cignetti's going to take a timeout. So, big third down coming up here in the third quarter.
Immediate timeout.
They had their biggest crowd in 45 years here last year, and they got plenty to cheer about, but they didn't have a second half worth locking in on. Different story today. 3-point game for Indiana, and a 3rd and 3 coming up in the red zone after they just took a timeout.
And you got both tight ends here on this play. In this scenario, I go back to one of those QB potential lead runs.
Surratt single coverage at the top again. Direct snap. Justice Ellison. He runs behind his tight end, and he's able to get the first down. Good call.
Great call. Great call. A huge part of playing quarterback is knowing what you're doing, how you're doing it, but why you're doing it. The why was the clap. All of a sudden, you saw Taven Jackson shift to his left, and out of the Wildcat came the running back for a first down. Nice job of execution from Justice Ellison, Taven Jackson.
Back to Ellison. Ellison moving forward. He reaches. Touchdown, Hoosiers. After a long lull, Memorial Stadium alive again. And who do you go to? The man who said, I'm coming here because I want to go to a place that needs me. He didn't want to transfer from Wake Forest to a school that would have success with or without him. And in Curt Cignetti's eyes, he saw a man that needed him. And together, they've got Indiana back up by 10.
This game is always going to present adversity. How you respond is the key. And this program that is a championship caliber program on a run, they just responded in a huge way. A little fist pump from the head man.
Football on the Big Ten Network is brought to you by Geico. Assembly Hall is usually the destination here in Bloomington, but not so fast, my friend. Memorial Stadium, the place to be. Lee Corso in attendance, the last coach in Indiana to beat Washington here. Washington looked like they were giving themselves an opportunity to take control, but Indiana just scored. Taven Jackson leading a drive.
He works his tail off, and just the coaches that they have around him this year, the players that they have around this year, I know he's going to be great out there. He has a whole supporting cast behind him, but that adversity is just, it makes him tougher, it makes him stronger.
That's a legendary player, his older brother here, right? A two-time All-American, a man who helped take Indiana basketball back to where they believe they belong, the NCAA tournament 2 years in a row. And when his brother was thinking about transferring to Indiana, Trace was finishing up his last year here as Washington takes over. Will Rogers takes a shot for Boston, incomplete. And, you know, they're from here. They're from the state. He was at Tennessee. Seems like an easy decision. And Taven said, I think I'm going to come to Indiana. And Trace said, are you sure? This football program, I don't know if this is the best thing for you. And obviously things turned quickly, and it turned out to be a great place for him.
Yeah, I mean, so many twists and turns when it comes to recruiting. Ultimately, you just want to go to a place where you get an opportunity to play and the environment is healthy. And for quarterbacks, it's as hard to come by He's landed in a healthy spot, as has Will Rogers.
And Will Rogers hands it off here to Adam Mohammed, getting his first opportunity. And let's go down to Rhett.
Will Rogers has spent 4 summers at the Manning Passing Academy as a staffer. Might be the longest tenured college quarterback staffer in the camp's near 30-year history. But he benefited from a lot of the time spending around Eli and Peyton Manning, picking their brains, as he's really used that to his advantage. He also spent some time around the jokester of the family, the great Cooper Manning, the oldest brother, says in jokes that Will was born in a deer stand, an avid hunter, and trying to hunt down a conversion here on 3rd down.
And it's getting loud, too. Rogers stands in and delivers. Denzel Boston, a conversion.
This has been the matchup we've talked about a lot. Nice job of the route. When it's man-to-man coverage at the bottom of the screen, you want to come really flat on that slant. He does exactly that. Perfect ball location for the 1st down. This time lined up against Jameer Johnson instead of D'Angelo Pons.
And now Damon Williams has come back in at quarterback for Washington. He gives it off to Jonah Coleman, and Coleman turns the corner and picks up a 1st down. A huge chunk play for him. A 15-yard run.
Jonah Coleman, you get the feeling, imagine playing linebacker at home right here. You're thinking he's coming right down at you, then boom, he skirts out to the outside, and once he's around that edge, look out in the back end. It's hard to take him down with just one man. So nice job of calling the run game for Jedd Fisch and Brennan Carroll, trying to be a little diverse in downhill runs and outside runs.
Damon Williams keeps it pushed backwards, and he'll lose a yard. James Carpenter, the 6th-year man, 5 years at JMU, was the one that blew that play up initially. And then Pons, who has 2 interceptions, made the tackle.
I think the thing, if you're Washington in the run game right now, Guy, you're having success when the ball can get either downhill to the outside immediately. Anything that's taken a little bit of time, that defensive front, they're winning the majority of those battles against the offensive line, getting a little penetration, and then that's just forcing whether it's Damon Williams or a running back to turn things back.
And now Will Rogers back in at quarterback on 2nd and 11. And there's Kaleki Latu for the 2nd time this half with a 1st down.
When Will Rogers is on rhythm, he can be lethal. Looking that way the whole time, just finding the spot in the zone defense of Indiana. And I'd start working this wide side of the field. Boston, again, he is lined up against Jameer Johnson.
Pressure picked up. Rogers steps up, looking, and almost threw another pick. Let's see, incomplete. Out of bounds was Jalen Walker. Does he get a toe down, Yogi?
Yeah, well, let's take a look here. Uncharacteristic, poor decision. You thought he was trying to throw it away, but you got to put a little more on it. Let's see his feet. No, it's an easy one. Left one down first. Officials all over that one, but for Will Rogers, lucky man.
You know, that right toe.
It was down, but
the left one was down
first. Yeah. As always, every play is reviewed upstairs for those at home.
Mr. Easy one over here.
Yeah.
Rogers. Pressured, sacked. Marcus Burris, who created the interception early in the game, got there first.
Watch this defensive line, and the route combination up top is just taking too long, Guy. Too long, not enough time. Jedd Fisch trying to take a shot in the drop back passing game. Offensive line couldn't hold up. And this crowd is waving their towel like they're in Coach Cignetti's hometown of Pittsburgh. It ain't a terrible towel. It's got SIG written all over it.
3rd and 18. Pump. Pressure. Looking. Sideline out of bounds. It was Boston coming back to it. A flag is down. We'll check on this penalty.
don't know if he was across the line of scrimmage or not, guy.
Ruling on the field is an illegal forward pass. The quarterback was across the line of scrimmage when he released the ball. 5-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Also a loss of down, 4th down.
It may help him anyway with the punting room, but you have to have just a shoelace, an inch of your cleat can be behind the line of scrimmage and you're legal, but he was not.
And that's a big stop for Indiana because you're thinking Jonah Coleman's getting going. They get Kaleki Latu involved. Denzel Boston has a grab on a 3rd down conversion. And then it's just that pressure. Washington tried to take a shot, just too long of a developing play with where this offensive line is right now in protection.
Touchdown for the offense, stop for the defense, and Jack McAllister on to punt it. Miles Price looking into a very high sky, telling everybody get away, and that takes a great bounce for the Huskies as we near the end of the 3rd quarter. Coming up November 4th, Big Ten basketball returns with a triple header featuring the Boilermakers, Wolverines, and Trojans in action right here on the Big Ten Network and the Fox Sports app. Time now for Celebrating Fansville, sponsored by Dr. Pepper College Football. It's a Pepper thing. This has been a raucous environment all afternoon, just as it was last week, just as it's been all week. If you want to know where the party was last night, just pick any place in downtown Bloomington. After a great punt for Washington, the Hoosiers start from deep in their own territory and a rugby scrum for 11 yards.
We weren't in the locker room at halftime, but I got to imagine something to the effect of, we are going to be the more physical team up front, was said after Indiana did not get in from an inch away at the goal line before the half, because you've watched them run the rock in this quarter.
56 rushing yards in the first half for Indiana. Indiana has 62 on the last drive plus that carry. Just incredible. What a special day. 3rd quarter's done. 4th quarter ahead. In 49 other states, it's just football. But this is Indiana.
All right, Coach, final 15 minutes here, looking for your first road win. How do you make up this deficit and stay in this thing?
Yeah, we got to get a stop here. Critical. Can't have another 8-9 minute drive. And then we got to find a way to get in the end zone next time we touch it.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
As we start the 4th quarter, Jed Fish right on it. 2 of the last 3 drives for Indiana have been nearly 8 minutes. Face mask, penalty down, and there'll be more yards, 15 of them tacked on to the end of this run.
Personal foul, face mask, defense number 97, 15-yard penalty, added to the end of the run, automatic first down.
I think it's right in the middle of the screen. Logan Sagapolu just trying to figure out which way the running back's going. He goes to his left, puts out his arm, grabs all face mask.
Arm? I mean, that's a tree trunk.
Yeah, that's a pretty big arm.
The 7th time this season in 8 games that Indiana's entered the 4th quarter with a double-digit lead. We know how the previous 6 have gone. Taven Jackson hands it off. Justice Ellison. And he gets tackled by Carson Bruner. Indiana's won every game by double digits. Their average margin of victory is 35 points. So this definitely qualifies as a close game for the Hoosiers.
Yeah, and I think it's great to watch them, especially with Taven Jackson, be in this new environment. How do you handle adversity? How are you going to respond to it? I think the previous drive that Jed Fish referenced that ended up scoring a touchdown is pretty impressive of a response from this Indiana squad.
He looks the same as he did up 40 plus against Nebraska last week. This time understandable. Lawton with a short carry. And now it's 3rd down. We asked Curt Cignetti this week, what's the most fun part of this. And he said, you know, it's after the media stuff's done post-game.
Timeout for an injured
When I go into my office,
player.
I hang out with my family, crack a brew, and read my text messages. Meanwhile, an injury on the field, so we'll step aside. Let's check out today's star comparison, sponsored by Jared. Jonah Coleman on the left, Justice Ellison on the right, the engines of both offenses today.
Yeah, Jonah Coleman, he's at 16 carries. I'd expect him to get a few more to get the most of his young season. Justice Ellison did a really impressive job at the running back position. Let's take a look at that previous play, and it's Alfonso Tupatala, the leader. Kind of gets banged there at the edge. Hope he comes back and is all right.
He was able to pop up and walk off, but he's not on the field for this third down. Jedd Fisch just told Rhett, we need a stop. Taven Jackson to throw. It's a long one, and it's incomplete. And now a flag comes in. That hit Ephesians Prysock in the face, and he was interfered with.
Pass interference. Offense number 4. 15-yard penalty. Third down.
It's a worthwhile interference if you're preventing a pick.
Washington has chosen to decline the penalty. It'll be 4th down.
It's also an unforced error, I think, from an Indiana standpoint. It's almost like he didn't realize what was happening to a degree. Yeah, he must have saw the errant pass. Because I thought he was going across on the out route. That's where he was open. Try to get to the sticks. And you're right, nice heads-up play from Price, recognizing that the ball could have been intercepted.
We've had 3 interceptions today. Will Rogers has thrown 2. Taven Jackson threw 1, deflected. Will Rogers, the first score of this game was a pick 6 by D'Angelo Pons. And now Boston with the fair catch. That's where Washington will take over. Let's take a look at today's hardest working player. Brought to you by Liberty Mutual. D'Angelo Pons, 2 picks today.
Yeah, he's done it in a variety of ways. Obviously, an explosive way heard around the country. And imagine that went viral on Big Ten social media. Impressive to kick off the party here in this stadium. And then another one, man cover, just kind of running the route there for Denzel Boston, staying on top. And then just great hand-eye coordination, staying focused on the ball. That was a big story in this ball game, especially when you're looking at the points. For the most part in this game, he is lined up over Denzel Boston.
18th carry of the day for Jonah Coleman. Matches a season high from 3 weeks ago against Michigan.
And I keep coming back to the well. To the point of Jedd Fisch, like there's no need where you need to hurry things up or change any element of your offense. You just got to make sure you don't have any negative plays. Their previous drive, that sack just killed him. Tried to take a shot, I get it, but the safeties were so deep. There was nothing there. Protection couldn't hold up. So now you see him in this unique formation. Just get the ball out of Will Rogers' hands and try to move it here.
Pressure off the edge. They go to Coleman again, and Aiden Fisher cuts him down. And it's going to be 3rd and 4.
Again, I go back to the scheme of Indiana. The whole goal for Brian Haynes, their defensive coordinators, the D linemen to wreak havoc and do it whichever way you can. If you got to go to a gap that maybe you're not lined up in, no problem. And they feel as though Aiden Fisher and these linebackers can clean it up.
Big 3rd down. Rogers gets it down to Coleman. And Coleman gets tackled, and it's 4th down. Jalen Walker all over it.
And again, these linebackers, I keep saying it, this defensive line, they've got a lot of freedoms, and the linebacker's job is to clean it up. You'll keep an eye on Walker. He'll flash into your screen right here. He's just got to beat an offensive lineman, and that's advantage athletic linebacker Jalen Walker every time.
Marcus Burris has been everywhere today, too, for Indiana. So Washington's lining up to punt this as the clock ticks at 11.5 remaining in regulation. A low liner. Price sees a seam. Price across midfield. Crowd can smell it. And Price gets all the way down to the 15-yard line. and you wonder if that was just it.
Oh, the crowd, to your point, you could smell it, you could hear it now too. Not wasting any time like he did in the opening punt return of the game. Immediately getting north and south down the sideline, picks up a couple blocks. Here's one block, here comes a second one, and his athleticism almost goes to the house.
52-yard punt, 65-yard return, and into the red zone. Justice Ellison. Well, it's been very clear from the start. You heard it the moment he was introduced as head coach. You could hear it in his voice. What does Curt Cignetti want? He wants to get to the fourth quarter, and as he has said, break their will. And it feels like maybe he could smell a little blood in the water here.
Well, they have ran the football time and time again in this half. They just flipped the field on special teams, and while UW's done a decent job defensively getting the ball back, this defense has shown up big complementary football in this half thus far.
Extra offensive lineman into the game here on second down and short. Ellison feeling his way, and he gets tied up. This should be a first down and make it first and goal. And it is. This is where they were at the end of the half, and Washington was able to force a field goal. That's a lot to ask, but it feels like they need to do it again with 10 minutes left.
With the way this game has played out, you're exactly right. In comes Tupatala back in. That's a good sign for Washington.
Couple of tight ends. Ellison. And he gets a couple. And it will be second and goal at just outside the 2.
Tell you what, I think you're setting up a zone read opportunity right here for Taven Jackson and his athleticism guy. This Washington defense is so aggressive. You've had success running the football for the majority of this half. They take the big guys off, put the receivers on. Let's see what.
Yeah, what do you make of that?
Coach, I like it. I mean, I think all of these players are so interchangeable. They've really broken a lot of tendencies when you study this team on film. Based on personnel, you don't really come to expect any one thing.
They sprint 3 receivers out to the left. Back to the ground. No, it's the quarterback, Taven Jackson. He kept it and he scored it. What a day for him. From the Hoosier State, a state champion high school player, big-time recruit. His brother, a star basketball player at Indiana. Radicic on for the point after. And after the big punt return, Indiana lines it up and knocks it in. And these people are getting what they came to see. Miles Price with a huge punt return. And Taven Jackson, once a Tennessee Volunteer, back home again in Indiana. That is the sound of joy and hope and winning. And Indiana 8:55 away from getting to 8-0. 7-0 for the first time since 1967. A program that's won 9 games twice. 67 in 1945. It's a Washington offense that can strike quickly. And Keith Reynolds trying to make some magic happen on the return. And he gets that out near the 30. And let's get a studio update from Rick Pizzo in Chicago.
Guy, a huge moment in Columbus. Nebraska's Dante Dowdell stuffed at the goal line. Huskers unable to take the lead. They do have the ball back. We're at the start of the fourth quarter. It is 14-9 Ohio State.
Wow. Thank you for that, Rick. And that's so relevant here because this is a Big Ten race, right? Indiana's tied for first place with Oregon to start today. Penn State 3-0 and Ohio State at 2-1 in the league and 2 weeks away from an Indiana-Ohio State matchup. Washington starts this drive with a long throw out to Decker DeGraff, his first catch today, and they're trying to jumpstart the offense.
Yeah, and Washington's going to need to move now with a little bit of tempo. And I think this is an advantage for Will Rogers right now in this offense, trying to find a little bit of rhythm after being stalled in the first or the previous two drives.
First down there. I just have to say, Yogi, when was the last time you had to show the standings at the Indiana game coming off an Ohio State highlight?
For an injured defensive player.
Well, I think a few things kind of stand out to me in that regard with an injured player.
Immediate timeout.
Hayden Fisher's down on the field for Indiana. We'll step aside. .8:21 remaining here, fourth quarter. Undefeated Indiana and Washington meeting for the fourth time ever. The first time as Big Ten opponents. Hayden Fisher was able to walk off of the field. He's on the sideline now for Indiana. Guy Haberman, Yogi Roth, Rhett Lewis down on the field. An emergency go time for the Huskies. And Rogers hit as he throws, but he gets it out to the back. Cam Davis for another good gain, and Washington not going away yet, Rhett.
No, not at all. I mean, and that's obviously what you expect, having talked to some of these Washington Husky players and Jed Fish and company. I'd be curious, Yogi, especially if they try to isolate Denzel Boston on Jameer Johnson. Felt like that's where they were finding some of their most success earlier.
Yeah, I think here in the second half, they flipped him to the wide side of the field in that regard. Come down the seam there to Latu.
And Latu fighting his way down inside the 15 and to the 10.
You know, Rhett, they've tried to go to this tight end multiple times today. This is the first time they really could spring him down the seam. You feel the loss of Hayden Fisher a little bit there, potentially a linebacker over the linebacker in front of the safety as we see Fisher back on the field.
36-yard play, and Washington hurrying down the field. Giles Jackson, touchdown earlier in the game. They get him to it quickly, and he's brought down at the 5. Jalen Walker there for the tackle.
Here comes tempo again. Clock just keeps ticking.
Second down and goal. Looking for Boston, and fighting with him was Pons. So Rhett mentioned Jameer Johnson, who was on him earlier on this drive, but this time Indiana was able to get Pons matched up.
Yeah, whenever it's the short side of the field or to the boundary, it's these two going up against each other. A little bit of contact there with that right arm of Pons. Doesn't grab, just on the back shoulder pad there, and a little bit of an errant throw. Don't be shocked if they come on back to Denzel Boston now in the bunch.
Pressure coming. Rogers throwing it back. And there's Latu, and he's cut down by Linnell Carr, who may have just saved the touchdown. And now it's 4th and goal.
When Carr's motor is on, it is full speed ahead. You see him right there at the bottom of the screen. Watch him just react. He stays square, anticipates it the whole time, reads it out. Nice job with the grad student making a huge play.
So now Grady Gross, who's had kicks blocked each of the last 2 weeks. He's missed 6 kicks in the last 3 when you include the blocks. This is a 23-yard try. And that's through. So Washington not done yet with 6 minutes left, and we'll take a 30-second break. This day's only getting started. Coming up next, Caleb Johnson powers Iowa against Northwestern. And then in the third game, the nightcap of the triple header, Michigan State, Michigan under the lights of the Big House. That's all ahead still here on the Big Ten Network and the Fox Sports app. That is a massive day of football here. This place has lived up. Bloomington answered the bell again.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, props to these fans. Nobody's leaving. They all stayed, and this truly is an advantage for the home team.
When the party's good, and the game was at noon, you got a whole day ahead of you.
Yeah, well, nobody was really sleeping last night from what it sounded like, at least outside our hotel downtown, man. Okay, so now here's this drive for this young quarterback. It was going to be a series of firsts for him, right? It's his first start with this offense. This is his first 4-minute drive. So what does that mean? That means you have to have true mastery around the situations and the clock. Washington's going to try to do everything they can to create some sort of turnover. You got to be clear with the play call. You have to be concise with your decisions, and you've got to just live for another down.
Justice Ellis has been a workhorse in this second half, and they go back to him, and that's a good first down carry.
This offensive line has done a nice job here in this second half. They've ran it 20 times, 93 yards. Rhett, they've done a nice job up front, man.
Rhett, what you got on the field?
Well, you know, this has felt like a culture half for Indiana. They talk about fast, physical, relentless. That's been Sig's messaging. You've seen those tail end, that physicality and that toughness and that relentlessness here with the run game. Dan Feeney, one of the best offensive linemen in Indiana history, is down here on the sideline. I was talking to him about it. He says he's seen a different edge from those big guys up front. As we see Ellison break off another run here, kind of setting that standard and living up to it here in the second half.
Well, I got a question for both you guys. Is Indiana a passing team or a running team, Brett?
You know, I think it's all about the RPOs with this team. When they have the RPOs going, that's what sets up the run game for this team. It kind of influences a little bit of indecision from the second level of the defense. And look, they haven't really had a lot of those RPOs rolling here in this one, but the run game and the commitment to it from Mike Shanahan, the play caller here, has been really impressive to take back control, Yogi, of this game.
Yeah, we talked to Mike Shanahan about that just yesterday and said, what do you want to be offensively? What do you trust the most? What do you lean on the most? And he said, I just lean on balance. And it's not true run pass, to your point. It's that run pass option game. Or even now, as we've seen in this game, the zone read element with Taven Jackson, Red, I think has really shown up, of course, on the previous touchdown as well.
Well, I'll tell you guys this. The teams that have the highest yards per attempt are the teams that never throw the ball. So it's Army and it's Navy, and then it's Indiana, right? And Indiana's obviously different today because Curtis Rourke isn't here. But they were prepared to adjust. Midstream, they changed quarterbacks with a slightly different skill set, fair to say.
Yeah, I mean, different command, I think, from Taven Jackson versus the experience of Curtis Rourke. I mean, Curtis Rourke was the Offensive Player of the Year in the MAC, his previous conference at his previous school, as they continue to keep it on the ground. But I think to the point of like explosive plays, Indiana came in today leading the Big Ten in explosive plays. And they're all runs. I mean, they do take chunks throwing it down the field. They did earlier in the first half, of course, on that touchdown. But the balance they've created with this offensive front under that man right there has been impressive.
Back in 30. Later tonight, Penn State and USC square off in a marquee top 20 Saturday night volleyball showdown. Coverage begins at 11 Eastern, 8 Pacific, only on the Big Ten Network and the Fox Sports app. 3:54 remaining, and Indiana trying to put this thing on ice. Third down here. Justice Ellison, his 28th carry of the day. And he's just swinging a sledgehammer and another first down.
If you would have said he would have had nearly 30 carries coming into today, I'd say no way, man. But he has. He stayed square. He's been extremely patient. He's read his blocks, and he's always finished with his paths moving forward. Curtis Rourke is fired up, as is this staff. I mean, Tino Sincero, we met with him yesterday as well, and he said, look, we need to run the football. We need to make sure we're physical on the offensive line and then make great decisions at quarterback. And for the most part, it's been check, check, check.
Kalon Black, pounding. Well, the quarterbacks, Mike Shanahan, the offensive coordinator, Tito Sunseri, the quarterbacks coach.
Second charge.
So much
30 seconds.
family here in every football staff, but especially here, right? You've got Steve Belichick, the defensive coordinator for Washington, Brennan Carroll, Pete Carroll's son, the offensive coordinator, and we've got two Sunseris facing off. Tino Sunseri, the quarterback coach for Indiana. It's the first time he's been on the same field with his brother, Vinny Sunseri, who's the safeties coach for the University of Washington. Played for Nick Saban, coached for Nick Saban. Bill Belichick, highly recommended. And of course, they come from a football family. Their dad, Sal, was a fantastic college coach. And together, they face off in a game that has them all smiles, but Mom Roxanne on pins and needles. We talked to Tino. He said, I don't know if Mom can watch this game today. It's going to be so hard. Kalon Black bouncing it outside, and he's got a first down. Rhett?
You know, I talked to Sal Sunseri this week, and he was like, my wife, Roxanne, has been an absolute nervous wreck since the schedule was announced, knowing that Tino and Vinny would face off here in Bloomington. But they've really grown up in coaching, right? With Sal, of course, a coaching veteran, won a national championship, and they've influenced their sons on building relationships with their players, and that's what's been most important. Tino said whenever his dad was had his position group over for dinner at night, that he held those guys on like his Mount Rushmore. It was such a big deal for him. And by the way, you want to talk about big deals? Miss Roxanne's homemade garlic bread. It's virtually world famous.
We heard the sauce that goes with it is even better. Taven Jackson bursts out the side and then steps out of bounds. And on top of it, these are staffs that have so much continuity. Obviously, there are different points in the evolution. Even though it's year one for both, they both treated the portal a little differently.
Yeah, I think it's fascinating when you look at both. Let's just start with Indiana. You've got Tino Sunseri and Mike Shanahan. They played together. They were quarterback wide receiver at the undefeated Pitt Panthers back in the day. And now they come together for the second stop coaching, and they have built something that this crowd can feel. It's not just a great story, it's reality with a great team.
The latest chapter in the fairy tale story that has been Indiana football 2024, about to close with another happy ending. We'll get you back to Bloomington shortly, where Indiana is now just 2 minutes away from an 8-0 start. That game also kicking off Super Saturday here on the Big Ten Network. And coming up next, we bring you to Iowa City, the Hawkeyes at home against Northwestern. Kickoff from Kinnick, just over 40 minutes away. Guy, Yogi, back to you in Bloomington.
All right, Rick, thank you. Football on the Big Ten Network is brought to you by Auto Owners Insurance, simple human sense, and by the new DQ Fall Blizzard Treat Menu. Happy tastes good. Second down, under 2 minutes for Indiana. And that is a first down. And as Indiana heads to 8-0, take a look at what The Athletic projected the college football playoff coming into this week, with Indiana as a 10 seed. Oregon also unbeaten right now and in the league, a 1. Ohio State a 5. What do you think when you look at that? Because I think a lot of people look at it and go, oh wow, that's cool.
Well, I'd say number one, Nebraska's got a 3-point lead against Ohio State right now. And number two, let's slow down on Indiana just being one of the 10 seeds and having a road game. They might win the whole league. I mean, I think we have to talk about this team playing really complete football after the last 2 weeks in their performances.
Just incredible. They'll be at Michigan State next week, and then a date with Ohio State in 2. We'll step aside for 15 seconds. Well, it's not just today, it's not just last week that was sold out. The next game is sold out. A team called Michigan. And then, of course, the finale with Purdue. On the road at Michigan State and Ohio State still to come. That last play, the ball was marked short of the line to gain, so it's third down. Justin Allison was just thinking, I need more work, and he's going to move the chains. 29 carries.
I'll tell you what stands out to me. This team for Indiana, they're known for their offense. They're one of the most explosive offenses in America. They lead the nation 49 points per game coming into today. They have a quarterback who's extremely capable of dealing. 5 pass attempts the entire second half, guy. I mean, I would imagine, I'm sure somebody's going to ask Coach after the game, what did you say at halftime? Because this offensive front came out and moved the line of scrimmage, as Rhett referenced earlier, with an attitude, and the physical and relentless element was on display. This team was tested. This crowd showed up, and what a scene it has been, my man.
Whether or not Curtis Warwick is back next week, who knows? But Indiana's answered the question, can you win with Taven Jackson? He has started before, but never quite in a position like this. 7-0. Last week, everybody's watching. This week, everybody's paying attention. We said it earlier, Yogi. Now to 8-0. This is a generational, multi-generational season. They have not been in this position since '67. If you were in the class of '67, you have grandchildren in the student section today. That's how special this is.
And it's special for everybody. All the new faces, all the new coaches, all the old fans. And I hope they all take a page from Coach Cignetti. And after this game, don't look too far ahead. Enjoy it for today. Find that recliner like he does and kick on back, because that is the first time since, to your point, a long time ago, since there's been a 0 on the right side of that graphic.
We're headed into November, and they've won every game by double digits. Curt Cignetti down on the field with Rhett Lewis.
All right, Coach, the team hadn't seen much adversity so far this season, but that was a one-score game there after you saw that interception turn into a touchdown. What'd you think about your team's response?
I thought it was a gutty win. Defense made some plays in the first half. Interception for a touchdown. Got another interception, right? We come out on